All right, forget your typical road trip. No monuments, no scenic views. Today, we're hitting the road for a different reason. We're on a cross-country journey to find the absolute most chilling, true stories the USA has to offer. You could say we're taking a little trip down Route 666.
You know, every single state has its own dark secrets, right? From those quiet, remote mountains to the middle of our biggest cities. So it really makes you wonder, which part of the country has the most chilling story to tell? Is it the seemingly peaceful Midwest, the vast, lonely wilderness of Alaska, or maybe the haunted Deep South?
Well, there's really only one way to find out, isn't there? So let's begin. Buckle up, our terrifying American road trip starts right now.
All right, let's dive right in. Our first stop on this journey is going to explore what might just be the most unsettling kind of horror there is.
And that's the fear that comes when you realize the most dangerous monsters, well, they're often human. And for our first story, we're heading to a quiet, abandoned house just outside Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, so you've heard this setup before, right? Two teenage friends, they decide to go explore an old, spooky, abandoned house. They're probably hoping for a little thrill, maybe find some cool old stuff. What they don't know is that something, or someone, is waiting inside for them.
So they get inside, and that initial excitement, it just turns to confusion. Because right there, in the middle of all the decay, set up on a tripod, is a big, modern video camera. We're talking brand new, ready to go, in a house that's been rotting for years? Yeah, that is the first giant red flag that something is very, very wrong here. And it just gets weirder. The floor, right in front of that camera, is covered completely in plastic sheeting. You know that sinking feeling you get in your stomach? It's starting to hit them hard. This isn't just some kids exploring an old house. This looks like a prepared space, a stage.
And the preparation is just chilling. It's not just the floor. All the old, decaying furniture wrapped in plastic too. It's this weirdly sterile setup in the middle of all this rot. And that's when it dawns on them. They haven't just found something weird. They've walked right into a trap.
And then they hear it. Click. The sound of the back door being locked. That one simple sound changes everything. They're not explorers anymore. They're caught. Somebody was watching them the whole time, just waiting for them to get inside.
Pure panic. Suddenly, the silent house isn't silent anymore. They hear floorboards creaking upstairs and muffled whispers. It sounds like multiple people. And they're coming down the stairs. The kids just bolt for the front door, and they just barely make it out. Turns out a man was sneaking around to lock that one too. Think about that. They were seconds away from being trapped inside with whatever those people had planned.
You know, sometimes the predator isn't lurking in some creepy abandoned house. Sometimes they're sitting right next to you, smiling. Take this story from 1980s Anchorage, Alaska. A bartender had this regular customer. He was polite, friendly, maybe a little shy, always tipped well. She had no idea his name was Robert Hansen, and that in his spare time, he hunted people for sport.
So, one night, this guy Hansen invites her to what he calls a huge party at his place. He seemed nice enough, but her gut was just screaming at her that something was off. This super shy guy throwing a massive party, it just didn't add up, so she said no. And that decision, that gut feeling, saved her life. She didn't find out the truth until later, when she saw his face plastered all over the news as the prolific serial killer who'd been terrorizing the area. It's one thing to be scared of a human monster, right? We can try to understand their motives, however twisted. But what's scarier than that? What about the evil that you can't understand? The kind that just defies all logic?
Okay, so now our road trip takes a turn, deep into the heart of the unexplained. Our first stop on this leg of the journey, a remote lakeside cabin in Idaho. What started as a peaceful weekend getaway, it turned into a nightmare that has absolutely no easy answers.
So picture this. You got three friends. They're miles from civilization at this remote cabin. It's a peaceful night, and then, splash, a huge splash completely shatters the silence. They all run outside, and what do they see? A body, floating face down in the lake. But the water is perfectly still. No boat in sight, no ripples, just a body.
So while one friend is trying to call for help, another one, John, he runs out onto the dock to try and pull the corpse from the water. He gets down, he reaches for it, and then he just lets out this blood-curdling shriek. He scrambles back so fast, his face is white as a sheet, and he's just yelling at his friends to get back in the house.
Of course, by the time help finally gets there, the body is gone, vanished. It wasn't until way later that John finally confessed what really happened on that dock. He said when he reached for the corpse, its head turned. The face was charred black, the eyes were milky white, and it grabbed his arm. And it whispered, "Why you, not Tom?"
You know, the fear of the unknown has a way of finding you when you're most vulnerable, like when you're lost on some desolate road in the middle of nowhere. Which brings us to our next story, from Northern California. A couple pulls over to check a map, and this rusty old pickup truck immediately pulls in right behind them. A man gets out, and he's clearly been drinking.
At first, he seems like he's just trying to help, offering directions, but then his whole vibe changes. He gets really aggressive. He starts insisting that they just get in his truck. "It's easier if you just get in with me," he keeps saying. "Come on, I'll take you. Get in." That friendly offer suddenly feels like a command, and the whole situation just gets incredibly dangerous.
The girlfriend, trusting her gut, just hits the door locks and yells at her boyfriend to drive now. As they peel out and speed away, the man just stands there, cackling, and he shouts one last, absolutely chilling thing after them. "You made the right choice." Get this, they found out later that where they were trying to go was 20 miles in the complete opposite direction. So, what exactly did he have planned for them in those hills?
For our final stop on this trip, we're going somewhere the fear has literally soaked into the soil. It's a story that's become a legend, passed down from one generation to the next. So welcome to East Tennessee, and let me tell you about the legend of Skin Tom.
So the story goes like this. A handsome man named Tom is having an affair with a married woman. The husband finds out, sets a trap at the local lover's lane, and catches them. In a rage, he kills his wife with a single stab. But for Tom, he had something much, much worse in mind. He drags him deep into the woods and skins him alive with a hunting knife. When the police finally investigate, they find Tom's skin hanging from a tree. His body? Never found.
And just like that, a local legend was born. To this very day, people in East Tennessee swear they see his ghost haunting those woods. They say he looks like a bloody skeleton, still wearing his 1920s clothes, and he's always carrying that same hunting knife. It's a warning, they say, to anyone who thinks about visiting that lover's lane.
And with that, our road trip has reached its final destination. We've gone from the creepy, quiet suburbs of Wisconsin all the way to the haunted backwoods of Tennessee. And along the way, we've seen how fear itself can change depending on where you are.
Think about it. We've really encountered 3 different kinds of American horror, haven't we? First, you have the human predator, the terrifying reminder that the worst monsters look just like you and me. Then there's the unexplained encounter, that sheer terror that comes from not having any logical explanation for what you just saw. And finally, the enduring legend, where one horrific act is so powerful it literally haunts a place forever.
So, that brings us right back to where we started. But now the question is, for you, what truly scares you the most? Is it the evil people are capable of? Is it the things that go bump in the night that you just can't explain? Or is it the stories that are so awful they become a part of a place's identity? Our journey might be over, but the fear, well, that has a way of lingering, doesn't it?